Hello and welcome back to 21 Days on the Mountain, a chance for us to pause together for a few minutes. So today is day 18 and I'm standing on a track about half a kilometre as the crow flies from the waterfall you can see behind me, the Cascade Rouge, the queen of the Alps, getting into its full power, still some way to go. And even half a kilometre away, it's still pretty loud. And to my left, I'm looking at a stump of a tree, perhaps a beech tree, I think, that's been cut off. You'd think perhaps that it's dead, and yet all manner of things are growing from its root. Its roots seem still to have force and life in them. And on my right, I'm looking up at a canopy of beech trees coming into leaf among the coniferous pine trees. The deciduous trees are starting to kind of fill the forest out with their colour and life. So as I was walking up this track and noticing the trees, I started to think about the quality of trees. So quite obviously what they all have in common, deciduous and coniferous, whatever type of tree they are, what they all have in common are their roots. Now, different forms of root, some go really deep, some are more shallow, but they all are rooted. They all have a degree of stability. They're all in some way grounded. So when I'm feeling unstable, ungrounded, kind of a little bit lost, I find it really helpful just to look at a tree. And when I do that, and I take some time over it, I might kind of look into the tree, so to speak, a little bit more deeply and look at its qualities. So if I'm looking at an oak tree, I see something, strong and sturdy and solid, majestic. Usually if it's big and broad, very old, it somehow embodies a wisdom to it. And when I look at a pine tree, I see something elegant, tall, a softer wood, more vulnerable perhaps, beautiful, erect. And then when I come across one, and they are here higher up the mountain, if I find a willow tree, now that's when I always stop. There's something about a willow tree, something about its capacity for resilience that I find really helpful. Let's look at it for a moment. So here in the Alps we have, a lot of snow, and with snow and certain conditions come avalanches. And what I find interesting at the end of a winter when we walk onto the higher ground is that you'll see willow trees that have been totally flattened by a bombarding avalanche, slowly lifting themselves back up, unbending, unfurling, becoming erect again, swaying and moving in the high winds up top. Extraordinarily resilient. And what's also interesting is that the willow trunk, the wood, is what cricket bats are made of, particularly English willow for some reason. But cricket bats are made from English willow. It's hard enough, strong enough to be resistant to a very fast-moving, hard cricket ball. It won't splinter easily, it won't dent easily. And yet, what I find really interesting about all of that is that it's also very light. So how can something like a tree have the qualities, if you like, of the oak and some of the qualities of the pine, and keep a lightness of being, which enables it to respond and bend and flex with every incoming shock? So I find it helpful to look at the willow tree and ask myself, how resilient am I actually? In this moment, am I trying to be strong? Am I forcing myself into a kind of a strong, hard position? Am I being tall and elegant and soft and graceful? How resilient am I actually? And heaven knows, in any crisis, in any prolonged crisis like this one, perhaps of all the qualities that we need, and there are many, resilience is one that we might seek to cultivate. And if we wonder what that means, let's look at the qualities of the willow tree and, as best we can, be more willow. So in this 2 minutes today that we share in silence, perhaps we might contemplate that, or something associated with that. Think of a tree, any tree that you might pass on your daily walk, or if not, one that you can conjure or bring to mind, and look at it more deeply. What tree do I want to be today? So bringing your awareness into this space between the sternum and the navel, and bringing your awareness simultaneously, if you like, to your breath. Bringing a consciousness to your breath, a sense of unity and connection with your breath, a wholeness. And I'm going to close my eyes, as I always do. Breathing in, and breathing out. Gentle, supple, resilient breath. This life-giving force. And now, in silence for 2 minutes. And when you're ready, on your next breath, gently open your eyes. So what tree did you choose? Or what kind of tree do you want to be or become? What are the qualities that you want to cultivate, while all the time remembering that all trees are grounded? Thank you for joining me today. Have a grounded day as best you can, and in those moments when that feels hard, remember you can always pause. Thank you.